Decided to stop wearing hijab while living with Muslim flatmates, and now I'm prepared to face my parents' wrath. I hijab now because of disgust for myself. Like ATP, I couldn't give a f about what the Muslim flatmates in my apartment think. I found a solution to that already on how to deal with my parents. But resorting to a scarf because I hated the way I looked? And I could do nothing about going to the hairdressers because they are far too pricey and I didn't want to spend that much money on hair. I came back to my room, cried whilst talking to my girlfriend on the phone. And another friend of mine texted me saying I was being too harsh on myself and that hair is hair. It doesn't have to be perfect. So today I decided to try again. I still wore my coat and a hood to cover my hair. Today I felt it was too messy and I tried to hide it. Every now and then I out the hood down just to get used to it. Surprisingly, I did not feel naked or uncomfortable or anything. I felt so free. And it reminded me of times when I would go to school camping trips when I was 10 and not wear hijab and my parents never knew because they expected me to wear it still. And I guess that's what I'm doing now. And I'm really happy and I think I just need to work on self-esteem now. I'm just taking small steps. I've been getting comments from Muslims in my DMs and on my posts insulting me and telling me that Allah should guide me back and I'm going to burn in hell because Allah will punish me. Like sure, may Allah guide me the fuck away from you all edit. I just want to say I wasn't expecting this much support but I'm so happily swamped with it. I really appreciate everything people have said to me in this comment section. Thank you all, you lovely people to everyone here. Thank you very much for the love I received in my last post. I was asked to give an update on my situation by someone I forgot who, so that is what I'm doing today and I believe this is the last one. If I make any posts in the future on my situation it will most likely be about going NC with my parents or finally living with my girlfriend and marrying her in other subreddits. But I'm happy to update here if anyone asks for it. Since this is my last one, it will be long. I hope you don't mind. It is a mix of a lot of things. So if you want to skip the extras, then read the middle part. I don't feel embarrassed or insecure about my hair. I feel normal and free. But most of all, I have never felt so real like I do now. I'm quite surprised how fast I overcame this insecurity. Much faster than I expected. I believe it's because of the fact that I am now busy with uni work and I have a lot to do. I've been too tired to give a shit about the way I look and pretty much realized the way I look is gonna be the same with or without hijab. I just put my hair in a bun with a claw clip and leave. Whenever I do leave my hair out it's usually after I've just washed it and it's dried/drying. I think the first week was an emotional roller coaster for a lot of big changes including the fact that I was missing out on freshers events as I had no friends. My accommodation is 4 boys and 1 other girl that I rarely see and it already seemed that people had made friends already in their dorms. I believe this is why I fixated too much on my looks and hair. The change was overwhelming at first. For those who are wondering about my flatmates. Really, it seems quite chill. They tend to come late at night anyways, like a mix of times between 12 to 6 a.m. and I always come back to my neighboring flatmate bringing girls into his room. Can't really tell if it's friends, cousins or whatever. But he's the only Muslim that saw me move in with hijab as my parents dropped me off and he hasn't commented on anything. I rarely see my flatmates. I believe it should be fine but again, it's only been 2 weeks. They get rid of spiders that are too high to reach which is helpful haha. So, a little off topic. But due to the fact that I've been really alone, no cat or siblings for company. I was lucky enough to find the right time to me, tea with friends. On Thursday, my friends came over to my dorms. After I was not allowed to see them for a whole year, this was just really healing for me. This summer was pretty hectic but being with people I'm close to and love is always healing for me. It was a reminder to me as well that I truly am free to take matters in my own hands without my parents around. They didn't need to know about my fun plan, I knew they'd ruin it. And I had pepperoni pizza for the first time 10/10. My friend that was able to stay for the night for the sleepover gave me so much advice, she is a lifesaver. She also checked my hair, my scalp and neatened it up a bit. Basic little things. I've been dealing with an irritated scalp so we found the right shampoo when we went shopping. I was able to eat with someone for the first time in a home environment. I made dinner and breakfast with them. I always ate alone back at home, it was such a refreshing time. Short but memorable and I cherish it so much. Everything has been different and not so different at the same time. It feels strange how getting rid of a piece of cloth has boosted my confidence in the clothes I prefer to wear. I wear the clothes I've always wanted to look good in, but I find the hijab ruins it and makes me incredibly uncomfortable around my neck. So I would have to stick to dresses and wear clothes that make me feel trash. Now, I wear my collared shirts and button-ups. I don't have to undo the button that holds the collar together just to make it more comfortable for the hijab. I wear trench coats, turtlenecks, blazers and ties and I don't feel stiff or boxy. There would always be too much tension around my shoulders, it's gone now. It feels amazing to leave the building without having to wrap a scarf around first. When I'm in a hurry, I can just leave. I don't need to wear a scarf when I'm outside of my room going to the kitchen or into the shower or toilet. But I would say the best thing of all is that I am not being associated with Muslims and their expectations and judgment. As an agnostic atheist, I think my real freedom lies in the fact that I don't feel as though I'm faking my life. I don't have to pretend. I feel present for once. No fear of a deity who will punish me for small things. Being able to form my own opinions and eat the way I want more healthy actually as my parents are not around. Less arguments and stress from them has cleared up my skin. Everything is good except for the absolutely insanely big spiders everywhere in this dorm building. I value integrity and authenticity. I already have a tough time struggling with my identity and who I am. The gap year I took gave me a lot of time to think. And that really helped me understand so many things about myself. So many issues, problems. My environment and how it affects me. The fact that after talking to my friends and girlfriend, I have even questioned the possibility of the fact that I may have ADHD. At first it seemed unfathomable, because I was always told that I was a functional, mature and boring person. But all my close friends and my GF are neurodivergent and they are saying I am showing signs. So I'm not just going to book a doctor's appointment, but I'm going as far as seeing a psychiatrist. I never would have thought I'd do that. It also makes me realize, I could never rely on my parents for anything for the way they overlook so many issues I had since I was young. I have never felt so free from religion before. I don't have people asking me about Islam and telling me to explain the religion. I could never lie back then that I have no interest in explaining it, but how could I when the person is curious and asking with the assumption that I loved my religion? I am at a point in my life where I feel in control. I feel unashamed of the fact that I'm a lesbian as well because I don't have fear that a Muslim may overhear me. Or that rumors could go around and my parents will find out. I recognize though that I am more privileged than many other ex-Muslims who cannot do what I am doing in Islamic countries and are erased the moment they utter a word about it. If they are brave to do that in an Islamic country, then my situation is nothing. Today I had a tough call with my dad. I knew it wouldn't end well. I had the gut feeling already, but he came back from holiday, so I couldn't ignore his call. He told me, "Why do you behave this way towards me? You don't seem to love me anymore. What have I done to you?" After an argument with my mum yesterday who pretty much said, "Fine, don't call me anymore since you don't seem to need your parents," the conversation just went the way it always does. They don't listen to what I have to say. I only asked for some things from home which blew up. She told me Dad was going to come in October anyways, so I thought I'd give a list of things I left behind at home. I ended up being lectured how I waste money on his petrol, or how inconsiderate I am when he just came back from holiday, and that I have 1K, so why does it matter if you spend £100 on kitchen supplies? Use the money you have for my student loan. She made it clear a long time ago that she would not support me financially. I never expected anything. Ever since she found out I had to live in a comms, she would argue with me. Student finance has a tendency to expect the parents to support their children with uni. So that just led to a whole money argument with her getting furious and blowing up on me ever since. Basically, fine, go there. Why should we help you with money when you're __ yada yada, and I literally never asked money in the first place. She still finds something to be upset about, whereas my dad gets mad that I'm being financially independent from him and not asking more from him. He thinks I should spend my money and saving up is pointless. If I want something I should ask him and not be frugal. He also said I pray to Allah that he fixes character / derogatory so that you grow up to become a human. Also / dare. Which he then proceeded to lecture me on why I haven't been a good daughter. They want to take me home during Christmas holidays. They don't like the fact that I might live alone in a building all by myself whilst everyone goes back home. I'm hoping to use the excuse of work, but really I want to finally travel by myself for the first time and visit my girlfriend again. Anyways, to end it off, thank you to everyone who has read this and supported me. I am rooting for anyone in my position that wants to get rid of the hijab forced upon them. To the Muslims who keep DMing me / commenting about the fact that hijab is this and that. Or about how you weren't forced to wear it. Or that I'm misconstruing the true meaning of hijab. No. I am not. And when you say these things and label it as Islamophobic, you are ignoring other women's real experiences. No matter what your religion says about the hijab, it does not negate the very fact that millions of women like me, and are forced to abide to the rulings of a religion against their will, exist. They exist. I exist. And to silence that is privilege and ignorance, because you have freedom when other women do not. You cannot ignore the struggles of Iranian women, the women in Afghanistan, the victims of honor killings and barbaric death penalties. You cannot tell me women choose to wear it there. If the women in Afghanistan were exposed to the many opportunities they could have, do you truly believe they would still wear the hijab or follow Islam at all? My religion does not teach that is irrelevant. I am talking about real issues that goes beyond the hijab and veiling. This isn't a generalized attack towards Muslims. Women who live in much worse conditions than me in Islamic countries, they would have been like me if they could speak their truth. Wear what you want. Have choice. And truthfully, the posts I have made about hijab was never abu-tu or about intentionally wearing the hijab. Now on to second story. Fiancé ignored my trauma, insisted on inviting the parents who abandoned me to our wedding, and now I'm re-evaluating our relationship. I, 35 male, was 4. My mom remarried and had 2 kids with my stepdad. My stepdad never treated me poorly but always made clear that I was Dale, fake name, to him. He was not my dad. My mom never tried to fix the relationship and honestly loved her new family and always saw me as a burden. That's what I thought, at least until it was confirmed after my freshman year of college when my mom asked me not to come home anymore. I blocked her after that phone call and have had no contact with her or my stepdad, and half-brother, since then. I do still speak to my half-sister, 25F, At her insistence, but that's my only contact. It took me a long time to deal with basically being kicked out of my family. I grew to be pretty independent and thought I'd live alone until I met my fiancée, 28F, 4 years ago. We have had a great relationship and her family opened up and invited me in with open arms. She comes from a pretty typical suburban family and they are great. Over the years I've told her about my issues with my family. She has met my sister and she never pushed for more, until we started planning the wedding. When we started talking about who we would invite, I talked about friends from college and coworkers and she kept saying I should invite my parents. At first I thought she was just trying to gauge if I wanted to. I said I would not be inviting my parents. She said okay, but then brought it up again the next day. I calmly explained how much they hurt me, how growing up feeling you were unwanted and then having it confirmed at 19 really stunted my mental health. That over the years I have realized it's their problem and if they ever want to solve it then they can initiate, but I am in contact with my sister and it is clear they are happy insisting I don't exist. It's CKS, but it's their problem that they have thrust onto me. I can't be the one to solve it. I thought it had ended, but she has brought it up 2 more times. The last one was last night. We were about to start the save the dates and she said, "Are you sure you don't want to invite your parents? I feel like I might just invite them on my side." And I snapped. I told her we should probably just throw the invitations away because if you can't respect what I've been through then I don't want to marry you. I then went to our bedroom and fumed for a while. She came in to try to talk to me and I walked out, grabbed my keys and left. I came back around 11 p.m. after hanging with friends and slept on the couch. She left for work without a word to me and I don't know where we stand. Her behavior is unacceptable, but I feel I may have gone too far. What do you all think, Ada? Commenter, she's already in contact with your parents. This particular kind of obliviousness doesn't start with asking permission but rather begging forgiveness. Oop, I don't think so. I go to dinner or talk with my sister every Thursday night and she would hint if my mom and Dale wanted to reconcile. Update 1. My fiancé normally gets home around 5:30 p.m. so after I was done working, I work from home, I waited for her to show up. Got very worried when it was 6 and she still wasn't home, but around 6:15 she shows up with my sister, which was a big surprise. While my sister and I connect every Thursday, we live 45 minutes away from each other, so her popping by is not normal. Both of them looked very anxious, so I was very confused. I asked them what was going on and my sister just bursts into tears and saying she's sorry. After like 5 minutes of her losing her shit, she starts talking about the family. So apparently when she told my mom and Dale that I got engaged, it started a rift between them. Not because they cared about me but about how my half-brother, which is 27, is still living at home, single with no Hijab. If you're thinking, why they kicked you out at 19 but let him stay there past when he could rent a car, don't worry, I said it out loud. My mom apparently wants to do the same to my half-brother but Dale won't let her. So they are currently separated. With my mom living family and refusing to come back until my half-brother is out of the house. For some reason that defies all logic and reason, my sister thinks getting an invite to my wedding will bring the family together. Since it was my engagement that caused the rift. At this I blew up a bit. I told her that my engagement had nothing to do with it, that their shitty parenting and poor relationship skills caused it and don't put that shit on me. She cried even harder, and this time I was not going to console her. My fiancé is just sitting there the whole time, so while my sister is trying to get herself together I question my fiancé about this. She also tears up a bit but tells me my sister was telling her about how I always bring up the family on our Thursday and that deep down I wanted to repair the relationship. I asked how she could believe that when I was very clear that I was no contact with my family and had never mentioned wanting to be in contact. I told her that I tell her everything and would never hold back something like this without talking to her. She's always been my sounding board. When I switched jobs last year, we talked about it every night and her advice mattered more than anyone else. She apologized and then wanted to show me her phone. Specifically the messages between her and my sister. At this point my sister perks up and asks her not to show the phone conversation. But my fiancé tells her she's trying to save her relationship. My sister has just been straight up lying about our Thursday conversations. Saying how I was always talking about reconciling, how I would never admit it but I'm partially at fault too, how I really want to see them all again. Every time I would tell my fiancé no, she would text my sister and my sister would talk about how I just couldn't be open because I was embarrassed. Just completely false. I would be perfectly happy never seeing any of them again. I can't believe my sister still sees them. At this I tell my half-sister to leave and that Thursdays are cancelled. My sister puts up a little bit of a fight but I ignore her until she leaves. She keeps saying sorry over and over again but honestly I'm done with her. I've blocked her and will be no contact with her for the time being. A complete betrayal of my feelings and relationships. As for my fiancé and I am still very upset. She went behind my back with my sister. Never asked me about it. Let my sister manipulate her and honestly hurt me. I told her I love her but my trust is broken. We've agreed to go to couples therapy and see if we can repair the relationship. I hope we can but I'd say it's a toss-up for me. She's got a lot of work to do. Commenter, removed, downvoted, oh fuck off. Your fiancé was lied to and manipulated just as much as you. Don't hold this against her if you don't want to be the asshole. Now is the time to come together with her as she has seen how fucked they are. Tell her you love her and forgive her and never believe anything unless it's out of your mouth again. But that's up to you if you want to throw away the love of a good woman update too. So after my sister left, I told my fiancée I loved her but I didn't trust her currently. That I felt she took my sister's side instead of mine. So I continued to sleep on the couch for a couple of nights. She was walking on eggshells around me and I hated it, but I also just wasn't ready to forgive her. Then Friday night after I hung out with friends, I came home and crashed on the couch. We had had an innocuous conversation but she did ask me to come to bed and I told her I just wasn't ready. I woke up to pee at like 3 a.m. and she was sleeping on the floor next to me. I don't know why exactly but it touched me deeply and I cried a little bit. It meant so much to know that she wanted to be near me even when I was being unloving. It really turned the tide. I woke up a few hours later and she was making me breakfast. A surprise, as Saturday is usually my big breakfast making day. We sat down to eat and she was keeping the conversation light, still on eggshells. But I decided to tell her a story from my childhood. I told her how Dale used to make breakfast for the family, but never included me. I was older so I slept in and when I got up, there was rarely any breakfast left, and if there was it was in the fridge and no one would eat with me. I told her how much Saturday brunch with us meant to me and how I hadn't really ever talked about it and that wasn't fair to her. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. She apologized again but I told her I didn't need it. That I forgave her and while I still want to do couples therapy because I think it'll help me express my family issues with her in a healthy way, I'm ready to send out the save the dates. I then asked her to massage my back because the couch was a nightmare to sleep on and she knew I was serious. I don't love people touching me, except my fiancé, and I had really not allowed it since the original incident. I know most of you did not want me to forgive my fiancé but I love her. And she loves me. She made a huge mistake but she's never experienced anything like what I went through. And she showed remorse. As for my sister, my mom reached out via a phone number that I didn't recognize and told me I should forgive my sister. I told her to screw off and she just confirmed my sister really had never had a relationship with me at all because if she knew me, she would know that contact with my mom would only make the situation worse. I then blocked the number. This happened Thursday evening. She tried to come by Sunday but my fiancé and I were out. She left a note apologizing and saying she did not ask mom to contact me and she's sorry she did that. My fiancé wants nothing to do with my sister anymore but left the decision up to me. I told her that she was my family so if she didn't want her there, she wouldn't be there. A little jab for sure but she took it well and said she didn't want her there. We have been getting back to normal. It will still take time and I think I may try individual therapy because as I was thinking about all the incidents I'm not so sure the family situation is worse than even I have acknowledged and it might be time to really deal with it. The save the dates were sent out yesterday and everything is still on.